Well, I've been trying to figure out what kind of video to make. Um, and with my last video, I making a thought about making changes on my YouTube channel, namely the name. I was thinking of calling myself the Progressive Libertarian. I mean, I've done other attempts at rebranding, but um, but I still struggled with it. And recently just watched a video by The Amazing Atheist. Is something about his most recent video about atheism. And he doesn't, I mean, he still calls himself the Amazing Atheist, but he doesn't really talk much about atheism anymore. And then he said something that really, I mean, I did kind of get months ago, but I kind of forgotten it, for an attempt to try to make a channel name that would actually garner people's attention. But then I lost sight of it and then was reminded of it. Is, once you label yourself, this is kind of like a butchering of what he said, but he basically said that once you put a label on yourself, is number one, you may not agree with everything within your same labeled group. And two, depending on what kind of label you have, um, um, you would have to defend your label, what you believe in, your ideology, whatever. Not that I'm saying, just be lazy and don't defend it at all. But it got me thinking. And a lot of it, is what I agreed with. Like, this is one of the things why I've always hated labels in the past. Because, and I'm going to add on my own opinions of it. I think that labels do more to dehumanize and separate people than it is to unite them. And look past, the label. So, like, for example, like, I consider myself a libertarian. I have teetered in the past between left and right. With the Trump administration, I started going towards the left, and then with the Biden administration, it's like I'm trying not to get in between the left and the right. Kind of like what I was during the Obama years. What some may call centrist or a fence sitter, I consider it as, there are things that I agree with the left, and there's very few things I agree with the right. But the thing is, I hate having to pick a side for the stuff that I believe in. Let's see what else. Like example for the word libertarian. There are so many different meanings and interpretations for the word. For some, it's about, freedom for everyone. For others, it's the right to be yourself. To others who may have who have scant knowledge of the term, some people think that libertarianism basically means you want to be like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. There have been some on the right who have used the word libertarian when they're like extremely conservative or far right. And the word libertarian itself, like with most words of the English language now, has lost a lot of their meaning. You know, like calling someone a fascist. And I also watched a Ideology episode. I probably will make a part 2 about this. I don't want to delve way too off topic, but I'll mention Ideology again just briefly. That using labels, calling someone else by a derogatory label, stifles actual dialogue and debate. Any meaningful debate, you know. It's like call someone like a Nazi or a fascist and there go you won, or call someone a tanky. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm hesitant to call myself a libertarian, at least on my channel, in terms of username. Is even though I consider myself a left libertarian, people still may not get it. You know, like, and especially where some people may think that two ideologies may clash. For example, libertarian socialism. You know, like, I rarely call myself that because, well, socialism is still considered a dirty word in American politics, mostly to older generations, and libertarian is a divisive word in of itself. But I think that they're great at simplifying what you believe in, but it also, at least to people who just look at the labels, limits to the imagination what it means. Like, and just for a meta example, why I call myself Atomic Brain Fart now was after trying many attempts to rebrand, but always ended up in the same hole. I wanted to make a username for my channel that was free of labels, you know, so that people could watch my videos and not have pre-confirmation bias, so to speak. And I didn't feel like using my real name. So I decided, well, what is it about me that I know about myself that I could use to make the channel? I know one thing is I'm autistic, and I'm prone to losing my train of thought and going off on all sorts of directions. So it's like, well, I could call myself Brain Fart, but just using that by itself doesn't really give like, because it could mean so many things. So, and I decided, well, what could I add to that could make the name stand out. So I thought about it, and I thought, well, what about atomic? You know, because when you think about it, you think of explosions, radiation, toxicity. You know, not that I wanted to be a toxic channel, but maybe talk about
maybe some subjects about toxic, maybe toxic subcultures and stuff like that, and especially some of the toxic stuff that's going on today. And therefore, that sparked an idea, and then I made the background and the little I don't know what you call it, but the little thing on the side of the name. And I wanted my channel to be just more than just talking about politics. I feel like everyone has gotten sick and tired of politics, and I think everyone's moved on about discussions of religion. And I just wanted, I guess you could say, I wanted to make a fun channel where, I could speak my mind. And that's really all I can add to that discourse. But anyways, going back to the topic at hand of labels. So yeah, like earlier, labeling, I think, especially when you label yourself, I think that you sell yourself short. Like, we're all unique individuals in our own way. I think adding labels, devalues us, as it kind of gives us more of a cookie cutter kind of identity. Like I'll use my autism as an example again. No two people that are autistic are going to be the same. One can be an uptight person with a stick up their ass, or you can have one that you wouldn't even know they're autistic. They're so chill and maybe even like hippies. But that's pretty much all I'd have to say. I probably will make another video on this subject, especially when there's daylight. But just wanted to talk about my thoughts on labels and stuff. So, have a good night.